is talk to NRD about the use of our Basin Creek water, our Basin Creek system. As I mentioned, we'll finish our major work with the Big Hole River in about 3 years. We'll also finish our work with the sewage treatment plant in about 3 years. At that time, we won't have a need for our Basin Creek system as a domestic water source. It's a very good water source. It has a lot of good assets. What we could do is store water in our reservoirs and release that water into Silver Bow Creek for in-stream flow and to make up the water that we're taking out as our effluent out of Silver Bow Creek. We think this would have a lot of great benefits. It would create a constant source of in-stream flow for Silver Bow Creek, so the fish and the aquatic resources aren't suffering. We have plenty of water to do that. Our water source from Emerald Lake and also Basin Creek is clear, cold water. It's very good water. And we have a way to get it to Basin Creek, Blacktail Creek, and Silver Bow Creek. I think in-stream flow is probably one of the most important things, assets that we could supply to Basin, Blacktail, and Silver Bow Creek. The other thing that I'd like to run by you is there's another added benefit. When we stop using Basin Creek for our domestic water use, we can open up this basin, or this reservoir, for recreational uses. Hiking, fishing, camping, hunting, all of those things that can't be done now because we use it as domestic water source. We think this could be a great recreational area for Butte Silver Bow, for the people of Butte Silver Bow. So there's some real added benefits with that type of system. We're a water company and we don't give things away. We need to get money back. And I think John is going to elaborate on this, but what we really want to do is set up a system with NRD that we're not charging a high rate for the lease of this water, $1 a year. But what we would want in return is NRD money to improve the watershed. Making sure that we protect the native West Slope cutthroat that are in this system. We would want to make sure that the dams that we have on the system are adequate so that we don't wash everything out and cause floods. But the money that we would ask back in return for this water resource wouldn't come to Butte Silver Bow, and we wouldn't use it for any other use. It would go directly into the watershed. So everybody would benefit from it. We wouldn't use it for any other thing except for the watershed. I'm going to jump ahead and talk about the Molten Reservoir system. The Molten Reservoir is a very small system. It was originally put into place around 1900. And it was put in place because the Basin Creek system, either the Basin Creek system or the Big Hole system, could gravity flow water to Walkerville. So the only reason it was really put in is to gravity flow water from our reservoir down to Walkerville. We actually have two reservoirs up here, again 1900 vintage. The water line that comes down from the reservoir is 1906 vintage. It's in very poor shape. We do have a treatment plant for the Molten Reservoir. It only treats around 1 million gallons a day at best. And it was a package plant when it was put in the mid-1990s. And it's just about to the end of its useful life. In order for us to keep using the Molten Reservoir, we'd have to sink a lot of money into it. And quite frankly, it's probably not worth it. We've done a cost-benefit analysis, and we have the document for anybody to read if they want. It's public information, but we found that it's much less expensive to bring Big Hole water up to our high service tank, and that's much cheaper than using the Molten Reservoir and trying to make all of the remodeling that has to be done on that system. We need the Molten Reservoir, of course, for the next 3 years until we can get the Big Hole done, all finished. But after that time, there's a possibility that the Molten Reservoir could be used for various things. We're going to, again, actively market the molten reservoir to any industries that may want it. Somebody may be interested in it. There's also a possibility that NRD, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, or other agencies may be interested in that molten water. And I'll just throw some things out. It's very easy for us to divert molten reservoir water over the divide into Browns Gulch. I don't know if anybody needs water in Browns Gulch, but it's a good quality water that could be used to make sure that we have in-stream flow in Browns Gulch whenever it's needed. It's just an idea. So we'll be actively looking for people that may have a use for molten reservoir water. It's a great resource, and of course, same thing, if we're not using molten reservoir for domestic use, then this reservoir is opened up for recreational uses, if anybody's interested. So those are the things I wanted to talk about with our water system. You're going to be seeing some great improvements in the next 3 years in both our water system and our wastewater system. And those improvements are going to be directly benefiting Silverbow Creek and that watershed. I think we have some really exciting projects that we can all work on. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention to you all, Butte Silverbow doesn't want to go alone on this. We want partners. We invite Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, Forest Service, NRD, Park Fork Coalition, anyone else that would like to partner up with us to improve the watershed. We're welcoming that. We want to see that. We want to work with people. We can't figure this out on our own. We need some really good input, and hopefully, the people on this committee will help us to do that as well. You're very welcome partners for us. Going to switch gears a little bit to the Silver Lake system. Butte Silverbow has a wonderful asset in the Silver Lake system. Right now, it's being underutilized. I'm going to point out some key parts to the system. We have Georgetown Lake here on the west. We have Silver Lake next to it. We have Storm Lake here. We have a huge storage water right on Silver Lake. We have an improved dam on Silver Lake so that we can control the flows. We have a ditch, a Storm Lake ditch, that runs from Storm Lake to Silver Lake. And we also have a huge water right on Twin Lakes and a diversion dam on Twin Lakes, and we have a pipe conveyance that can take water from Twin Lakes to Silver Lake. We have a huge storage water right on Silver Lake. We have another diversion structure on Myers Dam, called Myers Dam on Warm Springs Creek. And at Myers Dam, we can divert water out of Warm Springs Creek and bring it to Butte. We have a couple of customers right now. We have a Northwest Energy in their Mill Creek station, right there. They use about 500,000 gallons of Silver Lake water a day. We have REC right here. They use about 1 million gallons of Silver Lake water a day. Montana Resources also uses Silver Lake water, and their usage goes anywhere from 1 million gallons to 4 million gallons, depending on their circumstances, whether they have upsets or whatever. They do have a capability of taking even more water than that, but we're in negotiations with them to try to straighten that out. Let me talk just a little bit about the watershed. Storm Lake, of course, water coming out of the Pentland Wilderness, it's pristine water. It's the best water you can find anywhere in the United States. Same thing with Twin Lakes. Both of those lakes are pristine water. Have very good flow coming out of Twin Lakes and going into Warm Springs Creek. Without these impoundments, Silver, Storm, and Twin, Anaconda would suffer unbelievably flooding almost every year. These impoundments were put in before Anaconda was really built. We're talking 1880, 1890 structures that have been improved. And we control the flow so that we don't have a lot of flooding here. what we do in the springtime is we divert flow from these structures into Silver Lake. We fill Silver, and then we release water from Silver Lake throughout the summer. And again, as I said, the whole system is being underutilized now. We have a lot of water rights that it could be used to much better benefit. The other important consideration is this area is a big bull trout area. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is very interested in this area. Storm Lake has bull trout, Twin Lakes has bull trout, both the creeks have bull trout. And we want to work with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, we want to work with Anaconda Deer Lodge in making sure that we not only improve this, but make sure there's no harm comes to that resource. So we have some things planned. We want to work with some partners to make sure that the non-native fish don't destroy the bull trout population here. We want to expand that population. We want to make sure that the habitat is improved. The Storm Lake ditch was constructed by the Anaconda Company, and that's all it is a ditch. It's a straight channel. It has a good flow of water through it, but it's not the best habitat. Some of the things that we're going to be talking to Fish, Wildlife, and Parks about, we already have, is the possibility of NRD money to improve that ditch for habitat. The Twin Lakes diversion is a very great method of keeping the non-native fish from the upper stretches of Twin Lakes. It's a fish barrier. We want to improve on that to make sure that it does everything Fish, Wildlife, and Parks wants it to do. We want to work with those people very closely. Another big thing is Myers Dam itself. It's a partial impediment to upstream flow for these for non-native fish, but it needs dramatic improvement. Our group of ratepayers, the REC, Northwestern Energy, they can't make all these improvements. It's impossible for them. But the water would be too expensive for them to use. So we're going to look for some help in improving Myers Dam so that it continues to be a fish barrier, make it even better, improve the watershed, improve the fishery there, and make sure that the only water that is being conveyed is what is used and not wasting any water. What we'd like to do is market water from this system to partners, whether it be NRD, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, anyone else out there interested, so that we can maintain a continuous flow in Warm Springs Creek throughout the year. It's been said that maybe that's 40 CFS. I'm not sure. We need to talk about that. People that are experts need to tell us what they need. But quite frankly, we have the resources to make it happen. We can make sure that that resource is protected and that we have adequate stream flows throughout the year. And again, we're not asking for any of this money to, come back to some other benefit. All the money that we're asking for is going to go right into this system for benefit of the watershed, nothing more. I think with that, I will say that there is quite a long pipeline that comes from the Myers Dam into Butte. That pipeline benefits right now our commercial users. We wouldn't ask NRD for any money to fix that pipeline because, quite frankly, it's used by others and it benefits others, so we wouldn't ask you for any money for that. Unless, for some reason, someone wanted to bring Silver Lake water up to Silverbow Creek for in-stream flow, then of course we would ask for some help paying for pipelines or something like that. I don't see that as much of a possibility that could happen. So that in a nutshell, that's our system. We could spend lots of time talking about each component, but at this point, I just wanted to give an introduction. Be happy to come back at any time and talk about each section of this individually with you. If you ever want to visit any of these resources, be happy to take you. We can set up meetings. We'd love you to see the diversion dam and the pump house that's just about completed. This summer we can take a trip up, Silver Lake and Storm Lake and Twin Lakes if you like, and look at that. We really want to get you interested in this and let you see what great resource we have and some benefits that we could use this resource for the watershed. So with that,